Alright, this is the question I received. I was wondering about your thoughts on disabilities within the martial arts. My son has quite severe autism, and he trained at a kung fu school for around 2 months. He was treated unfairly and called names such as impure and retard. He no longer trains there, is now training with a great teacher who treats him like he doesn't have autism. My main question is, what is your opinion on disabilities within the martial arts, and how would you treat a student with a disability? So I first want to mention that I'm sorry that this person mistreated your son, especially since it is considered a kung fu school. And that's what I talk about with these labels, is certain people could bring a bad reputation to a label. And I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but when people choose to use certain labels, whoever was teaching this out of this kung fu school, and when he treats people in a bad way, it makes me look bad as well, because I'm trying to represent kung fu as well. I'm using the same label, and that's what I'm talking about. Is when people misuse labels, it brings down the reputation for the people that are upholding the right values to certain labels. So, I'm sorry that the person was treating him that way, and I'm also sorry that this person was using the kung fu label. If this person would have said karate or jiu-jitsu or MMA, then they're gonna destroy the reputation of those labels. But I'm using kung fu, this other person's saying kung fu, and then it's not the same kung fu because we're not the same people. And then one person misuses it, another person might be enhancing its reputation, and then the people that put in the hard work to bring the reputation up of a certain label, it gets their work gets diminished when there's a lot of people that are misrepresenting the label. Bruce Lee put a lot of work to build respect towards the Kung Fu label. And then you got, the mockery of the Kung Fu, like the Kung Fu fighting and, things like that. So, but as far as the autism is concerned, one of my sons has autism, and it's difficult to deal with. It's hard for him to learn the way that other children learn that don't have autism, and they even separate them in the school system. People that have autism and disabilities are separated from the classes from the children that don't have autism and don't have disabilities, learning disabilities, whatever the case may be. I think that when the child grows up to become an adult, it'll be easier for him to kind of blend in with the rest of the population and not feel that he's so different. But I think during the childhood phase, it's kind of more apparent and obvious that they're gonna need some type of specialized instruction or training. Um, as far as my opinion on people with disabilities in the martial arts, I mean, martial arts is not just a combative form. It's also a way to learn meditation, a way of gaining health, bettering your life in many different ways. There's a lot of benefits in the study of the martial arts for people of all ages, for people of any gender, from people that are highly athletic to people that are not as athletic, people that are very intelligent, or people that might have some challenges, physical challenges, mental challenges, people that have depression, people that are inflexible, people that are not that fit, people that might have learning disabilities, people that can't even speak. Martial arts can be a way of connecting with other people in many different ways, and just growing and enhancing your life. So I guess what it boils down to is just finding the right teacher or right group of students to learn with. Um, Sometimes may be harder to learn within a group because there could be just one person in the group that makes the experience not um, as pleasant. So as long as you find a really good teacher that is patient and that you have a good connection with, then I think it's a beautiful thing, you know. But to develop a group, it's it's not that easy, you know. So a lot of times it can be hard for a martial arts school to give extra attention to certain children that might have learning disabilities or autism or whatnot. Um, they might need like a separate instructor for that, and that's kind of how my school is. I don't really have that many students, but with the students that I do have, I try to have the kids class run at a certain proficiency, and then there is a child that does have autism that comes, and he would be like in a separate group, and I'd have one of my assistants work with him one on one, and he does really enjoy working one on one with the assistant instructor for the kids class. Um, but I think just like in the school system, you're gonna have the class where it's run by a certain teacher that is teaching for students that are progressing at a certain level, but other students that can't, catch on as quickly, they're gonna have a separate class. So, and with that, it takes in you need help, um, and that's pretty much how what I would treat it. Um, the kid that has the person that has a disability, if they feel that they could blend in with the class and it's not a problem, like they're not feeling like they want to quit because they see other people doing certain things that they can't do, um, if it's not a problem for them, and then as far as the other people in the class, they shouldn't have a problem with it, but if they do, then that's something that I could speak to each student individually about and seeing what the problem is. But I think what's important is being able to just structure the class and pair certain people up that are at certain levels where you might have a student that really loves helping people, and then you might pair that student up with the person with a disability, so then they both benefit. The person that loves to help feels great because he's helping somebody, and then the person that has a disability is getting more individualized attention from that student that has more experience. So, and then the students that um that want to really excel at a high level, then you pair those students up so then they can work on their own pace. It's just all about pairing up the class accordingly and just trying to get everything to flow, making sure everybody gets along and is respectful with each other. Um, you know, People that have disabilities, there shouldn't be any disrespect tolerated whatsoever. You know, um, but not everybody's gonna hold to those principles while they're running a school, and there's gonna be people out there that are teaching that shouldn't be teaching. You know, and that's just the reality of it. So I've trained with people that had certain conditions where they couldn't walk, and they had to use a cane, and they worked within the class very well. There wasn't any issues. I train with people at various different ages. I have people in the class sometimes that are over 70, and there's no issues. I train a couple of people who, from what their father told me, used to have autism when they're younger, but then they kind of grew out of it. They flow within the class just fine. In the kids class, there is one kid that comes sometimes that has autism, but he just prefers not to be in the group class. And but I never, you know, I don't dis you know I don't restrict him from the ability to join the group if he wants to, but he just prefers to be to have more private attention. So it really just depends on the situation. Um, the whole thing is just trying to get everybody to get along. You know, people of different races, different genders, different skill levels, um, people that might have disabilities. I mean, just get everybody to get along, to enjoy the training together. When we work on certain drills, just have each person pair up with somebody that they would work well with. So I don't see any issues with it. You know, I really don't. You know, it's just getting to know the person that you're working with, and you know, finding out ways where you could challenge the person to grow and better themselves. But in any martial arts class, there shouldn't be any disrespect tolerated, no matter what. So a female shouldn't feel that she's being harassed. A person with a disability shouldn't feel that he's less than everybody else, or made to feel less than he's somebody else. Somebody that's a beginner shouldn't be made to feel like, you know, you know, that he's a nobody because he just started. I mean, the whole idea is to just get people to be in meditation, to not compete with each other, but just to work on their own self-development. But everybody, you know, there's certain people that might not feel comfortable within the group for whatever reason, and then there's always the option of a private lesson at that moment. And that's normally how I deal with it. It's not necessarily about disabilities. It's just about people finding a comfortable environment to train in, where they could be open and, you know, pretty much vulnerable, you know. And it doesn't even have to be a disability. Some people that just they don't like people laughing at them or judging them. And you got to create the right training environment where you make people feel comfortable, and that it's a positive environment for growth, and people could just walk in there feeling that they could just be themselves, you know. And that's very important, you know. And I hope, you know, I always strive to create the right atmosphere for the people to train in. And I can't say that for every single martial arts teacher out there. Everybody teaches differently, but that's how I try to do it. And you know, people that have a disability, don't let other people's judgments and criticisms stop you from excelling and being the best that you can be, not just within the realm of the martial arts, but just in life in general.